It was a policy in China for years. The families could only have one child, and because boys promised more economic benefit than girls, there were stories of families aborting females. But that could never happen in the United States, right? Well, it depends on who you talk to, and because it's abortion, the topic has become political.
How many babies are being aborted because of gender?
What's going to happen is that providers are going to be turned into interrogators.
This just adds one more hurdle, one more regulatory challenge.
A former Texas state trooper with 19 years on the patrol, Alan Fletcher is now a fourth-term state representative. Few lawmakers introduce and pass more laws than Fletcher, and he's one of the most straight-talking politicians in the state, especially when speaking about his signature issue, abortion.
And I think taking a baby's life, especially a healthy baby, for any reason is wrong.
This legislative session, Fletcher is determined to end a specific type of abortion, one he fears is set to become a growing problem.
You know, we're trying to deal with the gender-specific abortions.
A gender-specific abortion is when an expectant mother ends pregnancy based on the sex of her unborn child. And to end that practice in Texas, Fletcher recently introduced House Bill 113.
If a law on gender-specific abortion can be passed in our legislature, then I'm the man to carry it.
And of all of the things that our legislature needs to work on, I find it very curious that this is Mr. Fletcher's priority.
Jeffrey Hans is CEO of Planned Parenthood in San Antonio. He says gender-specific abortion is a made-up issue.
We don't see in our clients that that's a reason people are having abortions, and Mr. Fletcher knows this.
A pregnant woman typically learns the sex of her child through ultrasound, but at Planned Parenthood, Hans says they're given during the first trimester and for medical purposes only.
Those ultrasounds are not capable of determining the gender of the pregnancy, and the client therefore never learns that. So this bill that he's filing is completely unnecessary.
But Fletcher's bill doesn't target pregnant women. Instead, it goes after anyone forcing her to get a gender-specific abortion, making that act criminal.
I've had a lot of people in the media, I've had a lot of folks ask me in the legislature, you know, what are the numbers? How many babies are being aborted because of gender? I told them I have no statistics on that. Those of us that are pro-life know it exists, we know it's happening, and we want to stop it.
This legislation has gotten some traction in other areas of the country. I hope that Texas does not make that mistake.
Heather Busby is executive director of NARAL Pro-Choice Texas. She calls Fletcher's bill an invasion of women's privacy, pointing to this part of HB 113. It threatens to suspend or revoke a doctor's license for knowingly performing a gender-specific abortion.
In effect, what's going to happen is that providers are going to be turned into interrogators. They're going to have to err on the side of caution at the risk of losing their license.
Hans goes further, saying at its core, Fletcher's bill is an attempt to intimidate doctors out of providing access to abortion care.
This just adds one more hurdle, one more regulatory challenge, so that even a compassionate, reasonable physician will say, it's not that I don't want to help women, it's that it's becoming too complicated and too expensive. Mr. Fletcher and his kind know that they can't make abortion illegal, so they're going to do everything they can to make it impossible.
Okay, so it is. So it's another regulation, something else that makes it more difficult to abort a child in this state. I'm okay with that.
This isn't Fletcher's first time proposing this bill. He tried outlawing gender-specific abortion in 2013, but says his own party torpedoed it.
It was a decision that was made by leadership that they weren't going to let white male conservative Republicans carry abortion bills.
Now, with a majority of conservative Republicans in the State House, Fletcher is confident HB 113 will pass. And despite Planned Parenthood's opposition, Hans worries Fletcher is right and the bill is on the fast track to becoming law.
And I just wish that the health care that is so private, so intimate, and so serious for women were not wrapped up in politics, and to have Mr. Fletcher jump into that and use that for some sort of political gain is, I think, at least unseemly, and he should be embarrassed.
There is another provision to Fletcher's bill, perhaps the most controversial part. Under certain circumstances, the maternal grandparents and the father can sue the physician and any person who forced the woman to get an abortion due to the child's sex. Pro-choice folks call that another way to intimidate doctors. Representative Fletcher says if it stops a single abortion, he's absolutely fine with that. As this bill makes its way through the legislature, we'll keep you informed. I'm News 4 troubleshooter Stacey Cameron.